It's me, bitches! Hello, beautiful weirdos, and welcome to Supernatural Saturday, where we discuss all things spooky and paranormal that happen throughout history and in modern day. And I do my makeup at the same time because I am way too awkward to make eye contact because I'm the only one in this room and I'm staring into a camera. I'm basically looking at myself, making eye contact with myself. Yeah, I'm way too awkward for the internet. I don't know why I'm doing this. But anyway, if you want to see more, please stay tuned. And I hope I will deliver on whatever the hell your needs are for entertainment. Anyway, today we will be discussing the Queen Mary, and this is my second time filming this intro because I forgot to plug in my mic the first time. I can't even speak tonight, so I have no idea how I'm getting through this video. But anyway, let's start. Okay, so let's start at the beginning, which will be the construction of the Queen Mary, which started December the 1st, 1930. Queen Mary was built to be bigger, better, and more luxurious than any ship at the time. Of course, we know Titanic sank in 1912, so this was basically supposed to be the upgraded version of the Titanic. May she rest in peace. Queen Mary was launched the 26th of September 1934. The Queen Mary started her maiden voyage. I did not know what this meant. It means her first trip. When World War II struck, the Queen Mary was used for transporting troops from America to Europe to go fight in the war. She transported an average of 15,000 men per voyage. These men were packed and tight like friggin' sardines. Queen Mary was traveling towards Scotland and she was said to have about 10,000 troops on board at the time. Alongside the Queen Mary was a ship called the Curacao, and this was a warship sent to protect the Queen Mary because the Queen Mary was built to be a cruise ship, okay? So it wasn't equipped to have weaponry and defend itself. So it was just there to transport troops. And because of the amount of troops that the Queen Mary transported, Hitler put out a bounty on the ship. He offered a 150,000 bounty to anybody who could sink the ship. So because of this, the Queen Mary sailed in a zigzag formation. So it will sail a couple of yards this way, and then it will turn around and sail this way, and then, you know, it would, so that it can't be detected by any submarines or warships. Due to the zigzag formation that the Queen Mary was sailing in, the Curacao couldn't really keep up with the zigzag formation because the Queen Mary was a lot faster than the Curacao was. And because of that, the Curacao just steamed straight ahead. Because of the Curacao steaming straight ahead and the Queen Mary zigzagging, at a point they came too close to one another and the Queen Mary made contact with the Curacao, slicing it in half. Sadly, this collision was due to lack of communication on both sides. The Queen Mary captain and Curaçao's captain was at fault because neither of them communicated properly. So at 2:12 p.m., the Curaçao Queen Mary hit the Curaçao, and it took 6 minutes from impact till sinking. There was about 300 men on board the Curaçao at the time when it sank, and sadly, Queen Mary couldn't slow down or stop to pick anybody up because there was such a huge bounty on their head. They couldn't stand still for long, and yeah, because of that, they just had to leave them in there. And they did contact other boats in the area to go pick up survivors. But sadly, the Queen Mary just going straight ahead, there's a lot of people who speculate that the Queen Mary's propeller might have sucked up, oh gosh, this is gruesome. The Queen Mary's propeller might have sucked up a couple of the men that were still in the ocean, and that's how a lot of them met their death. And apparently because of that, the propeller is quite haunted. Another famous accident that happened on board the Queen Mary was the watertight door 13. In 1966, John Petter, he got stuck in between the door. Sadly, he was crushed from his collarbone up until his liver, so he was like hang on, let me stand for this. He was sliced basically in half. He was stuck in the door and they did get him out. I'm barely even doing my makeup. He was stuck in the door and they did get him out, but sadly they injected him with morphine for the pain, but he sadly did meet his end. I don't really think that anybody could survive that, even in modern day. Nonetheless, on a ship in the middle of the ocean with very bad medical care, and so sadly, John Petter died of his wounds. When the watertight doors close on the Queen Mary, the bells will ring, and that will give you about 30 seconds to a minute to get through the doors. A lot of people speculate that John Petter played chicken with the door, and because of that he got stuck inside of the door, and that's why he died, is because he played chicken with the door. Other people say that if you go through the door, you need two people to go through the door. So the one person will be standing on the one side pulling the lever while the other person is going through the door. Then when the person gets to the other side, they have to pull the lever to keep the door open for the first person to come through the door, and then they can let go of the lever. But apparently, John Petter, I lost my mirror. Apparently, John Petter tried to do this by himself, and that is why he sadly met his end. At the time of John Petter's death, they didn't have a morgue on board, so they had to literally clean out the fruit locker, freezer, and store his body in there. So there are a lot of rumors that say that the freezer is also haunted, which is kind of gross because apparently, like, there was still food in there with him. Yeah. And I mean, if you think about it, there was probably like a lot of people that died when there were soldiers on the ship. So I think this boat has seen its fair share of death. Whilst I was researching this ship, I found a interview with Bill Souders, where he was speaking about his first-hand experiences on board the Queen Mary. He was working there in the 1970s, like late 1970s, and he had a couple of paranormal experiences that he did share. So I will share that with you. I also will put the link of the video that I saw of his interview. I will link that below if you want to see more about that. It is necessary for me to put it out there that Bill Souders did work with some items that was recovered from the Titanic's wreck. And he did actually say that there was a lot of items that he worked with in enclosed rooms during late nights, and he never got any paranormal activities or feelings from these items that came from the Titanic. He did, however, say that when he worked on the Queen Mary, his whole perspective about the paranormal and the afterlife did change. His first experience, paranormal experience on board the Queen Mary, was in 1979 when he was working by the first class swimming pool. He saw a woman, and immediately when he saw her, he thought she was quite odd because she was dressed like somebody out of the 60s. And I mean, if you know anything about fashion, you know that fashion styles come and go, and if you get caught wearing something from 20 years ago, okay, well, at least back then, I mean, now it's trendy. Anyway, why did I pull my face like that? Oh my god. He didn't take it too seriously because he was a skeptic at the time, and he wasn't immediately gonna be like, ooh, ghost. It was just, okay, it's weird why she dressed like this. He walked around a pillar to go up another flight of stairs that leads to the balcony, and it was literally a second that he turned around the pillar, and when he leaned over the pillar to ask her, do you have any questions, because I mean he was working there, so he just wanted to make sure if she's lost or if she needed anything, and she was gone. She vanished into thin air. And he said that there was nowhere that she could go in such a rush where she could hide, or any doors that she could have gone through. He literally turned for a second. It was boom, gone. So that was the first thing, but like I said, he was a skeptic, so he just put it off as something weird happened or whatever. But he knew that he wasn't imagining himself because he saw her clear as day. He saw her like face to face. So that was like the first paranormal experience. I can't speak tonight. That was the first paranormal experience that he had on board the Queen Mary. Bill does give a very clear description of the woman that he saw. He describes her as a blonde woman with straight hair. She was wearing an orange turtleneck and dark sunglasses. He also said that what struck him as weird when he thought back to the incident, what struck him as strange was that the steps of the first class swimming pool at the time was quite loose, you know, like when cement kind of gives in a bit and it creaks when you step on it. Well, not creak, it's not wood, but okay, you know what I mean, I hope. So he said that she didn't make a sound when she was walking on the steps. So it's almost like, not that she was floating because she was like clearly taking steps, but there was no impact between her feet and the step to actually make that creaking sound. I'm gonna stick to creaking. After this incident, he did check the logbook records to see if there was any deaths on board the ship in the first class swimming pool. He did, however, find no deaths that occurred in the first class swimming pool at the time. So there wasn't really a concrete reason why she was haunting that part of the ship. His second experience once again happened by the first class pool when he was going to the bow of the ship, I think, and he had to pass through the pool to get there. Now they put in floodlights or something, I don't know, like on the top by the pool. So this was a new installment, and he looked up because he said that they damaged the tile where they drilled the I don't know if they drilled back then. I don't know. But anyway, where they put the light fixtures on, they damaged the tile quite a bit. So he actually like looked up to see the lights. And then he like kind of leaned back just to get a better view because like the balcony was kind of obstructing his view. So he leaned back a bit and he suddenly felt like he was grabbed by the shoulders and pushed towards the pool, and he was standing there balancing on one foot while hanging across the pool. That was a lovely view for you guys. So he was balancing basically on the ledge of the pool on one foot, and then suddenly he was pulled back onto the ledge, and he said that for a couple of hours after the incident he actually had red marks on his shoulders. The third episode or incident that happened was when he was standing on board the ship to welcome new passengers. It was summer, so it was quite busy and there was like people flooding in. So he was looking at the structures of the ship that was like in the distance. He was looking at the structures of the ship, and then suddenly he was in 1966. And it was winter and it was freezing, and he saw the crewmen working on board the ship, and they were in New York, and he could tell that there was like a grim vibe in the air because it was right before Queen Mary was going to retire, and these guys didn't know like where they're going to get another job after the Queen Mary retires, and like you could just feel the angst in the air. And then suddenly he was snapped into the captain's room where he saw the captain working on a bunch of stuff in there. God knows what captains work on. And then he was snapped into the kitchen where he saw the baker. And then he was suddenly in the second class, like, accommodation area. And yeah, so it was like flashes. He says it's like it all happened at once, but it was like flashes of images in front of his eyes, like in one single moment. And suddenly he was back on deck and in his own time and welcoming passengers on board, and this freaked him out, but now you have to keep a straight face, you know. He also did say that whilst he was working on the Queen Mary, there was a lot of rumors of supernatural activity that was going on board the ship, but it was swept under the rug by the staff. It wasn't something that they wanted people to know because um yeah, it wasn't a big thing like come see the ghost ship. It was more like I don't want to stay there, it creeps me out. So in order to keep customers and to keep like tourist attractions, they decided to just like sweep everything under the rug and nobody has to know. Queen Mary had her last voyage in 1967, where she docked in Long Beach and served as a museum, hotel, and tourist attraction. I should have probably told you guys this before I started on Bill Saunders' whole thing, but okay, I'm sorry. Everybody makes mistakes. Now we can finally get into the infamous room B340, which is said to be the most haunted boat. The most haunted room on board the boat. It's said that a third class British passenger named Walter J. Adamson died in this room in 1948. The cause of his death was unknown. That's what she said. And they think that's why there are hauntings. I guess it's the only like logical explanation they can come up with why this room is haunted. There are also rumors that there was a guy that went crazy and killed two women and then they locked him in this room before it was like turned into a bigger room. It was essentially like three small rooms or two small rooms, I think, and then they turned it into like one big room when the boat became more luxurious again. I don't know. Anyway, so they say that then this guy was locked in one of those rooms that now make up B340, and yeah, he was crazy and went crazy, and he was locked in there till they could like find law enforcement or something. I don't know. I don't know how true this story is. The problem with researching paranormal things is that a lot of the time you get like quacks that just make up stories and put it on the internet, and you don't really always know what's true or false. So I'm gonna go with the guy that passed away in the room. I don't know, it seems more logical to me. So then in 1966, a woman reported that she woke up with her sheets pulled off of her body and she saw a man standing at the foot of her bed. So of course this creeped her out because I mean, what the hell is a man doing in my bedroom, pulling my sheets off, you know, like could be a lot of things. Paranormal isn't the first place that your mind goes. But anyway, so she started screaming for help, and then suddenly the man disappeared into thin air. Years later, guests also reported weird activity inside of this room, like lights going on and off. They heard knocking on doors and walls. Especially the bathroom lights would turn on and off without anybody touching it or being near to it. The maids on board the ship also complained because they would get into the room and then nobody would have been staying there for, wow, I look like a ghost right now. Nobody, ADHD moment. Nobody would have been nobody stayed there for a while, and they would walk into the room and the bathroom taps would be on, so, and running. I swear to God, I'm not picking up this white off camera. It's just like on the camera I look like a ghost. Well, I think it's pretty fitting since we're telling ghost stories, so I'll be the ghost in your story tonight. Maids would also complain that right after they made the bed, they would find it disheveled, whatever, like the sheets would be messed up. The room was closed for a couple of years. I couldn't find like a concrete answer to how long the room was closed, but it was closed for a while because they got a shit ton of complaints because of this room. But a couple of years afterwards, I guess when like Ghostbusters became a thing. I don't know. After a couple of years, they reopened the room for paranormal people seeking for a paranormal thrill. And yeah, so it was up and running, but I mean the Queen Mary is said to be closing down, so I guess it's not up and running right now. In 1989, two women were sent to clean the lounge for a VIP reception that they were holding in there. And when they walked into the room, there was just like a passenger sitting in the middle of the dance floor on a chair. Wasn't saying anything, just sitting there, chilling, I guess. Just staring. It kind of creeped them out. And then a third woman came into the room. I guess she was also supposed to clean. And when she came into the room, she remarked that the person sitting on the chair was staring. And when they called security, the person vanished into thin air, like so many do on the Queen Mary. Holy shit, what have I done? I'm just making a mess tonight. Hi. What? Yes, I'm recording. No. I'm just talking to myself.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just
Okay. Enjoy sleeping.
well, if you need any more, I'll just let you know. Okay. Love you. I'm gonna take Papa up also.
Okay. This is going in the video.
Huh?
This is going in the video. Okay, love you too. Anyway, one thing we have to remember about this incident is also like there was 3 witnesses. It's not like it was just like one person that was seeing things. It was 3 people. It was 3 people seeing the same freaking thing. I mean, creepy. Now let's get into the many ghosts that haunt the first class swimming pool, because there are many. My brushes look terrible. I did wash them, but I can't get that stain out. So if anybody has any advice on how to get stains out of beauty blenders, please, I need your advice. Anyway, so there are multiple spirits that have been seen and reported by the first floor swimming pool. How many of them are actually true and how many are false, I have no freaking clue. I wish I could tell you, man, but I don't know. I wasn't there, so who am I to judge? Anyway, so one of the ghosts that are seen by the first floor swimming pool is a woman in a tennis skirt. There is also reported to be seen a woman in an old wedding gown. They have seen a little boy in a suit who, when he appears alongside a cloud of steam. If I die, I want to make an entrance in steam. I want to be like, dun 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 it's me, bitches. Apart from the boy who makes the awesome entrance in steam, we have, drumroll please, a little girl in a blue and white dress who just like, she's just there. She doesn't have an entrance. She's just there. Hi. Now we can get to boiler room 4. So in this room, there is said to be a little girl who runs around there, and she's like sucking her thumb. And also, she sometimes is seen with a doll in her hand. Now, remember Hatch Door 13, where John Petter was crushed in the door? So, of course, there are a lot of paranormal occurrences there. I mean, as you can think, a guy was crushed. Anyway, enough of me stating the obvious. So a lot of people have reported to hear running behind them, and then also whistling along with the running. So they would like hear running behind them, and then like I'm sorry. Anyway, other people also reported to see like oil grease marks on their face that look like fingerprints, and they say that they believe that it is John Petter that leaves these stains on their faces. My story is basically finished. My makeup isn't. So I'm gonna go do my lashes. It's not really anything interesting. So I'm gonna do my lashes off camera and my lipstick off camera, and I will be done. I will be back with the conclusion. Not that there's much of a conclusion. The ship is haunted. Woohoo! Anyway, I'll be back. We are done. I almost fell off the chair. Like and subscribe for me almost face planting. So the Queen Mary, whoop-de-doop-de-doo, conclusion, it's haunted. Yeah, so it's closing down if they can't find enough fees to fix it, because it's pretty much falling apart. I would love to see it and check it out, because apparently it's like really haunted. Yeah, but I probably won't see it in my lifetime because I'm stuck in another continent where nothing's going on. I am cringy. Bye, 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 bye. Like and subscribe. Yeah, okay, bye.